Welcome to Justice, a lawyer's hangout, where we dissect legal issues and educate the public on the law. I am Chizaram Oyike, and here with me today are my colleagues, Muniraz Adama and Jennifer Ovanwa. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. On today's episode, we'll be discussing teen pregnancy, early marriage, and parental consent, law, culture, and the battle for a girl's future. The Child Rights Act criminalizes betrothal and early marriage in Nigeria, but enforcement often clashes with cultural and religious norms. Many parents believe they have the right to consent to their daughters' early marriages, but does that consent override a girl's child's education, health, and childhood? Now, let's dive into it. Ms. Munir, I'm going to start with you.
All right.
So, in Nigeria today, what is the legal age that is considered a girl to get married, and why is it different from other parts of the country?
Thank you, Chizaram. You see, technically in Nigeria, the Child Right Act of 2003 is what protects children's rights,
Yeah.
and it mets out the age which a child should get married in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And according to the Child Right Act, 18, a child below 18, or a person below 18,
It's considered a minor.
a minor,
Yes.
and should not be given out
For marriage.
for marriage. Same as other international laws. Any person below the age of 18 cannot get married. So in Nigeria also, a person below 18 should not get married, but above 18 is now the recommended years for marriage. Yes.
Yes.
But however,
Yes.
not Nigerian operates a unilateral legal system, right?
Yeah.
Where we have the statutory laws, the customary laws, and the Sharia law.
Yeah.
So now about 21 states in Nigeria has adopted the Child Right Act, while the rest of the northern states
Yes.
do not adopt.
And the thing is that these Sharia laws, they are now is now like is overriding the constitution itself.
For those particular states,
Yes.
not for the rest of the states, but for those northern states
yeah.
especially. So now for Sharia law, because you asked the question, what age is marriageable age in
In
Nigeria?
Nigeria.
For Sharia law, for those states that have adopted Sharia law as the laws that govern their marriage age, is that when a child attains puberty, that's when the child is right. And you agree with me, Jennifer, that some children or some girls, by 9, they have attained puberty.
Of course.
Sometimes
It's 9.
Yeah, that.
Of course.
So you're not saying that just because someone has attained puberty by 9, the person should get married.
And these laws, they don't even consider the health and medical
Of that child.
Yes, of the child.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then some customary laws also accept that a child of even say 14, 15 can get married.
Get married.
You get. So as it stands, in Nigeria, there's no stable age for marriage because we have a unilateral law system where we have the statutory system, we have the Sharia system, and we have the customary system.
I totally agree with you because cultural norms, mostly here in Nigeria, have really affected the girl child in the sense that you can just wake up one morning and say, "Oh, you can get married. You are in marriageable age. Go and meet your husband."
Exactly.
I totally agree with you.
Exactly. And the Child Right Act cannot protect you.
Yes.
Under Sharia law. That's it. The Child Right Act cannot protect you under Sharia law, and it cannot protect you under customary law. I don't know if you see the crisis, circumstances surrounding that age for marriage.
So, Miss Jennifer, I'm going to bring you in here. Now, we've seen situations where families marry off pregnant teenagers. Now, do our laws allow this? Because, in some situations, they will say, "Oh, because you've gotten pregnant, you must marry that man." And you've seen also situations where a man maybe rapes a minor and she gets pregnant, and you see parents force them into getting married to these men, or they are the people that raped them. So do you think our law allows this? What do you have to say about that?
Our law does not allow that.
Okay.
In Nigerian law, they don't allow child marriage.
Okay.
Under Section 21 of the Child Rights Act Code, it's illegal to marry or betroth a child. And now the question now is, who is a child? A child is someone who is below 18 years. And Nigeria, we are signatory to this treaty and the Convention on the rights of a child and the African charter on children welfare. The minimum age for marriage is 18.
Okay.
So whether a child is pregnant or not, it is illegal for them to
Get married.
get married. Yes. Now the problem here is that when a girl child is pregnant, some family communities, they just want to where they shame
And they'll say, yes, that marry her. Yeah.
go and marry that. It's not right. It's not right. So why the law says no, culture is saying yes to that. Yeah, and so unfair.
Yes, and I feel like we should empower girls through human rights, like she just mentioned.
Yes.
And also, we should also hold parents accountable and offenders legally accountable for this. Like she mentioned, it is not right for us for these cultures to allow girls to be married off at a tender age because
They all pregnant. Yes.
so
Because I don't see the line between being pregnant and getting married. They are
and like I mentioned earlier, sometimes these girls are victims of rape. So you can't just say, oh, because you were raped and you got pregnant, you should marry your rapist or the person that raped the child. So Miss Mary, I'm going to now ask you your own question. Like, can parents actually give permission for a girl to be married before 18? And what does that mean for her rights as a girl child?
Yeah. Technically, under the Child Rights Act and the African Charter for Child Rights and Welfare,
Yes.
and international human rights and international child rights across the country and across the world, no parent has the right to give their minor child or the child out in marriage for whatsoever reason as it is. However, again, in Nigeria, there's still what is posing a problem for us, and that is that unilateral system where not every state has adopted the Child Rights Act. There's still the Sharia law. There's still the customary law, like we know, that give the parent the absolute right to give that. Once your father have said, especially your father or your father's brother or whatever in the family have said,
And they
take the palm wine.
Exactly.
Yes,
They meet the father and they say, oh, exactly, like your daughter, we forced you to. So, and that's it.
Why statutorily that is not correct? That is not right. And the impact it has on this child, when you give the child out for whatsoever reason, like this pregnancy, mind you, when you have sex with or you have carnal knowledge
with a minor,
when you have carnal knowledge with a minor that is below 18, there is no consent whatsoever that a minor below 18 can give to you when you're having carnal knowledge of that.
Yes.
So let's get that. Yes. So now you're not saying as a parent you have the right to give this child out in marriage. First of all, you have thwarted her education.
Of course.
That's one of the impacts. You have thwarted her free will.
Yes.
For her to attain the age of adulthood, for her to decide if this is what I want to do or not. You have thwarted her right as a person.
Her human rights.
Her human rights as a person to choose. You have given her out to someone in marriage where she has no choice but to remain there. And so many other impacts, negative impacts. What about her health? And there's this Aisha, 12 years old Aisha from the northern state that went viral, I think last year, that had fistula.
Viscovaginal fistula.
Exactly.
A bad medical condition.
Yes, medical condition could also be the impact it will have on the child. Yeah, because her pelvic is not ready to carry, to be able to even
carry a child,
or even accept carnal knowledge of a man,
a grown man.
Yes. and things like this. And she was leaking and they abandoned her until I think one NGO was able to rescue her and then provide her treatment. These are one among these are few reasons or few impacts and not many negative impacts that giving out a child in marriage
can cause. Yes, I totally agree with you. Miss Jennifer, I'm going to bring you in here. So if a teenage girl is pregnant, does she have the right to say no? I believe you've already mentioned that. Does she have the right to say no to marry, stay in school, or choose healthcare?
Absolutely, yes. She has 100% rights. Yeah, is no. The fact that she's pregnant does not take away those rights, doesn't cancel them. And according to, I'll still go back to section 15 of the Child Rights Act, where a child have a right to education. Section 11 of the Child Rights Act, they have the right to health care, delivery, antenatal, and everything. So the fact that she's pregnant doesn't
Mean that you should marry her out.
it doesn't mean that she should marry. If she said no, if she doesn't give her consent, she's correct, it's right.
And you know some parents, because of poverty, and they will use their daughter as a poverty alleviation plan.
Yes.
And they will say, oh, you know what, we're going to marry this chief because, oh, if you marry him, he's going to bless our family.
Exactly.
And that is not wrong. That is not right for parents to be doing. And like I mentioned before, we should educate these girls and also
the parents,
the parents
and the society
at
large. Yeah.
So I really thank you for pointing that out. Let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
At LJE Nigeria, we are committed to ensuring justice, equality, and accountability. Reporting a violation helps us to protect rights and uphold transparency. In this short guide, we'll walk you through how to report a violation on our website. Simply start by visiting our website at www.ljenigeria.org. From the homepage, locate the Report a Violation option in the main menu at the top. Once you're on the Report a Violation page, you'll be prompted to select the type of violation you are reporting. This helps us categorize your report for faster and more effective handling. Next, fill in your details. It is essential to provide accurate and clear information so that we can follow up effectively. Once you have completed the form, simply click Submit. You'll receive a confirmation message that your report has been successfully submitted. Your report will be reviewed by a dedicated team of experts, and will treat all reports with the utmost confidentiality and work diligently to ensure a thorough investigation. If you have any question or need assistance during the reporting process, please don't hesitate to reach out to us through our contact page. Together, we can make a difference. Visit www.ljenigeria.org to report any violation and join us in upholding justice and accountability.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. To round up this conversation, so I'm going to start with you, by Samuni Watadama. What should happen when parents force their young girls into marriage in the name of tradition or family honor?
You see, Chizera, technically, it's supposed to be a crime for a parent to give out their child in marriage, someone under the age of 18. So the Child Rights Act is now like has a sharp teeth but cannot bite, because we have other system that is operational in Nigeria, e.g. the Sharia law, like I said earlier, and the customary law says that allow parents to give out their child in marriage under the age of 18. So now the question is, how does our lawmaker, or how will our lawmaker make sure that all the 36 states in Nigeria adopt this law?
Oh, the laws.
Because remember that Nigeria has rectified, meaning Nigeria has adopted the Child Rights Act, International Child Rights Act, and welfare. So if we are saying that we conform with what the word say, that no child should be given in marriage under the age of 18, and then this same Nigeria is having other systems, like the Sharia law. You cannot go to the northern states and arrest any father or criminalize any act of a father that gives a child out under the age of 18.
Just like what you just mentioned, where Senator Yerima married a 13-year-old girl.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
And you see, did anything happen to him?
Of course, nothing.
Was he penalized? No, because he stood firmly under the Sharia law.
Yes.
But if it has to do with the statutory part, which is the Child Right Act of 2003, he would have long been penalized and his act would have been criminalized for giving a child that is not prepared. This girl, now he's saying, of recent, I see you're saying that the girl is doing
That she's doing her master's degree and very
Does that justify?
the PhD.
Yes. Does that justify? How many child
And he
will do masters in the future
and he was even saying
when they get married?
My own daughter too, he got married at 16. And she's doing her PhD.
Exactly. So for how long? So when we have people like this, like the top TikTok guy, TikTok guy that
a copper,
yes,
the TikTok copper who mentions that secondary school girls are more sexually appealing to the.
Can you imagine? So when we have average adults in Nigeria that keep thinking like this, what we fear for the future of our children under the age of 18.
Yeah.
Because on one side, imagine that on one side, where those 21 states that have adopted it is being criminalized, and on another side, those about 7 to 8 states in the northern part that's not. Then what are we doing? That means we are talking from two sides of the sword, and it's not good
and
at all.
The Sharia law is really contradicting the Constitution of the Federal Republic
and the African Charter for child rights and welfare of the child.
Yeah,
it's really contradicting, and it's something that we have to look into seriously
I
to
totally
protect
agree with you.
The education of the child, the health of the child, the will of the child when they become an adult.
Yes, I think that's really very true. Thank you so much for hitting that on the head. So, Barrister Jennifer, how can we create better laws and stronger support systems to protect girls from early marriage, especially after pregnancy? I keep saying pregnancy because, like I mentioned before, most parents would say, "Oh, you are pregnant already. This man must marry you." So, how do we create better laws to protect these girls from early marriages, most especially after pregnancy?
The truth there is that we already have many laws.
Yeah,
like we have many laws. So I think what we need now is action
and enforcement.
Yes, we need enforcement. There's no need to bring out another law. So for me, I think that we should enforce the Child Rights Act all over the country. Like Vice Samurai said, it's just only 21
to unify it.
Yeah, to unify it. And I also think that you should create more support for the teen mothers.
Yeah,
like we should educate them. They should know their right. They should know that it's not because they are pregnant that means they have to. They should know how to say no. They should know how to not say I don't. They don't give their consent to that. And we should also provide more health care for them. We help them educate them on their legal rights and all that.
Yeah, and human rights.
I think we need to educate the families
and the parents.
Communities, yes, the community.
And also, I also believe that we should also prosecute offenders who.
That's where I was going to land, which is around.
Mm-hmm.
We should take examples of the good laws that are working in other countries and adopt it. In other countries, they take things like the very serious thing, even as much as even whispering an adult whispering in the ears of a child, maybe in a park. It's taken very seriously. You see them, the police will come take them, or you see somebody calling the 911 immediately. Look, I suspect something is happening. But because of the culture, the cultural values in Nigeria, it's not taken seriously. When, for example, in this particular culture, a 14-year-old child is very, very ripe for marriage. So when an adult from that particular culture sees something like this happening, they feel it's normal. We don't take it very seriously. We think it's just we are just blowing things out of proportion. But no.
Yes.
We like Jennifer rightly put, every state should be forced
to enforce this law.
Nothing should override statutory law in Nigeria.
Yes.
The status first. before any other law should follow it behind, and it must be in attendance with the statutory law, the 1999 Constitution, the Child Rights, the VAP Acts, and so on and so forth.
Thank you. Thank you very much, you both, for being here. I really appreciate your presence here. Thank you so much. We must begin with awareness, human rights education, and a commitment to protecting girls, not sacrificing them. We must insist that consent must come from the girl herself, not to be imposed by parents or justified by custom. Remember, a girl is not a bride, and a child is not a mother. Join us next time on Justice, a lawyer's hangout, and follow us on our social media handles as LJE Nigeria. Until then, bye.